Hi! Today I am going to be talking about micromovements, or what you might want to call micro tasks. This is for you if you identify as a perfectionist, a procrastinator, an avoider, a dissociator, if you have a short attention span, if you are just convinced that there is not enough time in the day. I am going to be sharing the origin of the term micromovement, the reason that this concept debunks perfectionism, procrastination, short attention spans, and more, how to start micromovements, tips on how to do it, and even 2 free printable downloads. So let's get started on how to talk about micromovements. All right. Now, Sark, the author and artist, she wrote this book called Bodacious Book of Succulents. And in this book, she originally coined the term micromovements. You can use this term interchangeably with microtasks if that serves you better. I like the term micromovements because it has the word move in the middle, and a lot of times she will actually capitalize the word move, just because we're actually taking action, right? It's this verb idea. So the big point of micromovements is that it's micro. It is literally something that takes 5 minutes or less. Very, very, very short amount of time. Now, this is something that it's a big concept to a lot of people, because we think that all these things that we want to do take much longer than 5 minutes, right? Like, all of a sudden you're just like, there's no way that I can get all my stuff done in 5 minutes. Or sometimes you might be thinking, I don't even have 5 minutes. So let's talk about all of these things that might be preventing you from even wanting to try this. So first of all, let's think about the idea that you don't have enough time. Okay, so we all think that. We all think that we do not have enough time. And the fact of the matter is that we prioritize what we want to prioritize. I completely understand that everyone has different lives, and some people have more responsibilities that are time related, and things like picking up kids and 9 to 5 responsibilities and commutes and going to school and all these things that I might not have in my life, and I have the luxury of working from home, and that's a completely different lifestyle. My friend Sarah Stars has this really great article from a long time ago that says we don't have the same 24 hours in a day as Beyonce does, and it's really true, because like, she can outsource a lot of things, right? So if she's having someone run her groceries for her and we don't have that luxury, then we have to go run and do our errands ourselves, right? So it's a different kind of thing. And I understand that. But if you really want to pick up your kids from school, you make time for that no matter how chaotic your day is, right? You figure out a way to do the important things. Now, we have to start thinking about self-love and self-care as an important thing. And part of self-love and self-care is prioritizing your goals. Personal development and goals, whether they are professional or personal development or, just whatever it is that we're working on, like, that's part of you. That's part of your growth, and that's something that needs to be prioritized. And if you're not going to make time for it, then you're not going to make time for it. And right now, all we're asking is for 5 minutes a day. And I think you have that. I really do. I think that you can figure out 5 minutes in your day. I know I don't know your life, and I know that you might be thinking that you don't have it, but I think that you could wake up 5 minutes earlier. I think it's possible. So that's all we're asking for. And I know there's going to be some pushback there, but let's just try it, okay? All right. Now, if you think that you have a short attention span, 5 minutes, again, not that long, right? 5 minutes goes by way quicker than you expect. If you set a timer and you do something for 5 minutes, it's over like that. And even for people that have very short attention spans or ADHD, it's kind of like in Kimmy Schmidt, if you've ever seen that show, the idea of like, you can do anything for 10 seconds. You can continue doing something even if you want to get distracted, or it's easier to do something in shorter chunks of time. And 5 minutes really isn't that long. It's 5 chunks of 60 seconds. So it's doable. And again, we're talking about 5 minutes or less. So sometimes this micro movement might be 30 seconds. So it's totally doable. If your micro movement is 30 seconds, that's fine. We're talking about just making space every day that you do something to move you closer to your goal. That's all we're talking about here. Now, if you are a perfectionist or you have a problem making sure that everything is perfect, you might feel like there is no possible way that you can possibly start and complete a complete masterpiece in 5 minutes. So you're right. That's probably not true. Most big things that we will leave behind or we want to share or will be part of our legacy are going to take a little longer than 5 minutes. You're completely right. And that's where the beauty of relinquishing control comes into play. And you can't be a perfectionist with this plan of micro movements. That's what's beautiful about it. Gala Darling just did a really great high vibe honey and tapping session that you should check out on our channel about being a perfectionist. I don't really have that necessarily that mindset, but I do have OCD. So this like idea of things needing to be complete is a big problem for me. So I definitely identify with it in some ways, and you'll identify with certain things in different ways. So if you feel like you're a perfectionist, something that she said that I really thought was really great was perfectionism is just a form of procrastination, and it's very true. We're just making sure that we're not getting to the point where we're actually doing the thing because it's never going to be good enough, right? And like we can't wait till we're ready. So this 5 minute or less micro movement idea, this concept has to like, you have to relinquish the control of doing something beautifully, perfectly, beginning to end, because you can't in 5 minutes. You only can do a little bit, and that's all we're asking. Now, speaking of procrastination, a lot of times I do this, like when your to-do list is super long, you just take a nap instead, right? Like you're like, I'm overwhelmed, I can't do any of this, so instead of doing any of it, I'm gonna do none of it. And I totally get that mentality. I've taken too many naps instead of working on my to-do list. But let's think about the fact that we're talking about 5 minutes a day, or less, again, or less. Now, if you were to do the full 5 minutes, let's say, for the sake of argument, you're doing the full 5 minutes every day. For a month, that's 5 times 30. That's 2.5 hours of time spent working towards your goal that you wouldn't have had otherwise. Now, that's a lot of time. 2.5 hours times 12 months. We're working up all of this time, all of this energy, all of this progress, all of these movements towards progress, towards completion, towards your goal. And that's what's really, really important. Now, how do you start? How do you get started with these micro movements? So you want to think about your big goal. So your big goal should be things that it falls under the umbrella of this overarching idea or concept of how you want to live a good life. I know that that's a really big question, and you might not be sure of that answer right now, and that answer might change as you grow and change, and that's completely okay. But right now is a good time to check in deep within inside yourself and figure out, what do you want? What do you want to do? What do you want to do for the world? Who do you want to be? What do you want to be remembered for? How can you help? What kind of person are you? What is your purpose? What kind of skills do you have that are unique, that you have been given or have worked on, that you can now share with other people? These are big questions, but that's what gets you down to your big, deeper why. And that answer to these questions, or a combination to the answer of some of these questions, can help be your answer to the umbrella why of this overarching goal that will be helpful in creating smaller goals that fit under the umbrella shadow. And those smaller goals are stepping stones that help you get to the point of reaching this bigger goal. So, for example, I believe that my main goal on in this world, is to use my personal experience and disposition to help make other people feel happier and good about themselves and their bodies. And in order to do that, I obviously need to make goals that are related to creating content about those specific things, but also it includes me working on my own personal development, because if I am not on top of my own mental, emotional, and physical health, I can't possibly help anyone else. My cup can't be empty to help someone else. So I have to make sure that I am doing things like practicing self-care consistently. And I also need to continue educating myself and inspiring myself. Now, those are pretty broad goals, right? Like, inspiration can be coming from so many different places. Education can be coming from so many different places. Self-care is super big. But like, these are super broad, and I have a lot of different goals that can fall underneath of them. So technically, so many different things can correlate back to my small goals, which correlate back to my big goal. But what you want to make sure you are doing is not picking something out of left field that you think you should be doing that actually has nothing to do with your umbrella goal. That's the whole idea, is that you're checking in with your why and making sure that your smaller goals fit under the umbrella. So that's a really good thing to do. And when you are inspired and passionate about your goals, it's going to be easier to connect to them and, wake up and want to work on them every day, and you'll be more naturally motivated to achieve them. So your task is to start by picking one small goal that fits your big goal. I mean, first you're probably going to need to pick your big goal, right? That's probably the first thing, big goal, then small goal. And then you want to decide if you want to do something every day, like more repetitively, or if you want to do something different each day. So for example, if I'm working on my self-care, right now, one of my goals is to do EFT tapping and meditation every day. Now that's repetitive. The meditations and the tappings are different, but the actual activity is the same. Do you see what I'm saying? So that is repetitive. But if you are working on, we'll use the idea of like writing a book, and if you can't do the same exact task necessarily every day, besides like write, like that's really vague. And we want to be a little more specific about the goals that we're making. So you would have like a list of little tiny things that you want to do that are getting you closer and closer to your goal. So, for example, if you want to do something different each day, like crossing things off a stacking to-do list, make a list first, and that can be the first thing on your to-do list. Or, okay, so like you could have buy a new notebook and make a list, and then in that notebook, and then come up with a title for your book, and then come up with a main character. And all of these things that I'm saying, all these different things are on different days. So buying a notebook is day 1, making a list is day 2, coming up with a title, day 3. That's all you have to do the whole day. That's the 5 minutes. That's the whole thing. It's super easy. The next one could be write a chapter outline, free associate write for 5 minutes. Like, it can just be little tiny things, and you set a timer, and then that's it. When you're done, you're done. That's it. If you want to work more, you can, but you don't have to, and that's the whole idea. Now, some other tips are to determine what time you are going to do each of these activities. So, are you a ritual person, or is it going to help you? Are you going to need to do it at different times based on your work schedule, or is it going to be more helpful to you to mix things up? But either way, you should decide what time you are doing the activity in advance. So you can lay it out a week ahead, or you can do it every time that you finish the task. You can assign yourself the next task. It's up to you. I wouldn't do it further a week ahead in advance, but you definitely need to do it as soon as you're done that task. The one that you did that day, you need to assign yourself the next one and the time. So, are you a ritual person? Like, I'm pretty good at least the time of day. So like, I like to do tapping in the morning, meditation at night, gratitude at night. There's certain things that I like to do at different times of the day. Maybe you are like that. Maybe you will have to fit things into pockets. That's up to you. But you do need to schedule it and allow yourself to stick to that schedule, especially if you have a more hectic schedule and you're worried about making sure that you can fit this in. So, allow yourself to also label the things on your list as activities that sound really fun and intriguing and beautiful. Make it fun. So instead of just saying buy a new notebook, you could write shop for a beautiful place to write my inspiring new bestseller. You know, so like something fun and not frivolous, but you know, exuberant and fun. I don't know. Also, it's really important to share your successes. And we're so worried about imposter syndrome and just feeling like we're not the thing that we are until we finish the project, or we are told that we are that thing. And we're scared of like telling people the thing that we're working on that is good or being proud of it. And it's crap. It's stupid. And you should be proud of your achievements even along the way. So share your successes. I'm going to make a landing page that's going to have the links to the 2 downloads, but it's also going to have a couple other links. I'll link to the Perfectionist Tapping with Gala Darling. I have an article on imposter syndrome that also has a script on how you can text your friend about sharing your successes, and you just fill in the blanks. It's super easy. And there'll be some other links on there too. So yeah, share your successes. And along with that, you can get a partner to help you do this. If your goals are completely different from theirs, that's totally fine. It's not about that. It's about finding someone who is supportive and not like hypercritical of what you're doing. It's just about feeling like you have a gym buddy kind of thing, but it's a spiritual gym buddy or a micromovement buddy, you know? And then finally, it's important to feel like you're tracking your progress. A lot of us feel like with self-love and personal development that we aren't seeing a return on investment. And that's why a lot of people won't buy e-courses for self-love or something, because, you know, it's a lot easier to buy an e-course that says you're going to make $1 million because you think you're going to see a return on investment with that. But if you buy an e-course that's $100 that says you're going to learn to love yourself, you're like, how do I measure that, right? So measure your progress tangibly. So I have 2 printouts for you. Now, the first one's super simple, and it's just 7 days of a goal activity tracker. And it's just a date, the goal that you're working on, the time you spent working on it, and then a place for notes. So that note could be how you felt while you were working on it. It could be anything that came up for you. It could be the next thing that you want to work on, or anything. Any miscellaneous stuff. You don't even have to fill it in. Really, it's just about the day that you worked on it, the goal that you worked on, and how long you spent. That's it. And then you can just see over time that you're doing it, and you see the page fill up. Now, I then have a much more in-depth worksheet for you that is all about micromovements. And this is more about doing a little bit of introspection and journaling and planning for your micromovements. So it's about planning your big goals, your small goals, your list of goals, and then doing some thinking about like, why are you struggling with your goals and why are you excited about this process, and then making a declaration to yourself. So these are printables that are free and available to you. These are things that I usually would only share in my membership group, the Uncustomary Babes, but I am sharing them with you today for free. The Uncustomary Babes group is a really amazing support group. It's on Facebook, but the resources are also all unteachable as well in case you are not a social media person. And there are so many resources. There's hundreds. There's worksheets like this that are interactive. There's educational PDFs. There's hundreds of positive affirmation digital images that you can share on social media. There's positive affirmations, there's quotes, there's journaling prompts, there's meditations, there's EFT trainings, there's Pinterest boards, pep talks, playlists, inspirational art, printables. There's so much, really. And that's just for the basic group. So if you want to sign up, the link's always in my profile, just uncustomary.org/membership. And yeah, I would really love to have you. I'm really proud of the group. You can unsubscribe at any time. And this is the kind of stuff that I give out all the time. There's about 5 new resources that come out every single week, and you can look forward to this kind of stuff. So just to give you a little taste of what's going on over there. And I'm really excited to hear about what you think of Micromovements. And if you've ever read a book by Sark, or if you've read the Bodacious Book of Succulents by Sark specifically, if you've heard of Micromovements before, if you've tried them out, or I'd love to see if you fill out these worksheets. Please tag me. I'd love to hear what you are thinking about all of this. So I will leave the link for the downloads will be uncustomary.org/micromovements. And that will have all of the links for the downloads and all of that. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this has been helpful, and I can't wait to see all of the progress that you make when you are using this method. I'm using it this week and this month, and I can't wait to report back to you. So thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.